Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
18-year-old accused shooter paralyzed during tussle with victim in St. Mary incident. An 18-year-old who is accused of shooting a man in his neck in St. Mary last month was reportedly paralyzed during the same incident after a tussle with the victim. Miguel Francis, otherwise called Michael Yuan, a carpenter from Greenwich Road, Kingston 14, and Dover District, slapped with several gun-related charges after a man was shot and injured on July 17 in Dover District in Anota Bay last month. Francis was reportedly shot during the same incident, which resulted in him being paralyzed from the waist down. He was held after he turned up at hospital with gunshot wounds and was pointed out by the man who was earlier shot and injured. He is charged with wounding with intent with the use of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, possession of a prohibited weapon, and using a firearm to commit a felony. Reports were that around 10 p.m., a construction worker was at home when he heard a strange sound outside and went to investigate. It is reported that the construction worker was approached by a man who shot him in the neck. The injured man then held onto the firearm and a struggle ensued, and another round was discharged. The injured construction worker ran off and collapsed at the roadway and was assisted to hospital where he was treated and admitted in serious condition. The police were summoned to the scene of the incident, and while searching the crime scene, they found Francis about 15 meters away, suffering from what appeared to be a gunshot wound to his chest. He was rushed to the same hospital for treatment. While there, he was pointed out by the construction worker as the shooter. He was taken into custody, treated, and admitted. Tiger perishes in house fire in compound. A senior citizen died in a fire of unknown origin on Friday afternoon when the blaze razed a portion of the house he lived in a section of Falmouth known as Compound. The deceased has been identified as 76-year-old Linval Hemmings, otherwise known as Tiger, of Cornwall Street, Falmouth address. Reports are that about 3 p.m., residents saw fire coming from a room in the house occupied by Hemmings. Members of the community tried unsuccessfully to rescue him and to put the fire out before members of the fire brigade arrived on the scene. The firefighters eventually put out the blaze, after which Hemmings' partially burnt body was seen among the rumble. The firefighters are carrying out investigations to determine the cause of the blaze. St. Elizabeth man slapped with murder charges. A man who fled his community for almost a year after reportedly killing another during an altercation in St. Elizabeth was tracked down by the police in Kingston and charged with murder. Charged with murder, illegal possession of firearm, illegal possession of ammunition, and using a firearm to commit a felony is 36-year-old Seymour Mullins of Jointwood District in the parish. The deceased has been identified as 22-year-old Tevin Green, otherwise called Frost, of the same community. Reports from the Black River Police are that on September 24, 2022, Green and Mullins were patrons at a bar in their community. An altercation reportedly developed between them, during which Mullins allegedly pulled a firearm and opened gunfire, hitting Green before fleeing the scene. The police were summoned and Green was taken to hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Mullins was arrested during an operation in Kingston on Monday, July 31. He gave a caution statement to the police and was later charged. Man accused of stealing motor vehicle from St. James businessman remanded. A man accused of stealing a motor vehicle from a Montego Bay businessman was remanded in custody when he appeared in the St. James Parish Court on Wednesday. Fidel Ferguson is charged with larceny of a motor vehicle and receiving stolen property. According to the allegations, about 6:30 a.m. on July 18, the complainant awoke to find his 2015 Toyota Axia missing from his driveway at Bogue Village in Montego Bay, St. James. He was able to track the vehicle to the Spot Valley area of the parish using the tracking device. However, when he arrived in Spot Valley, he didn't see the car, but he did see some of his belongings. He further tracked the car and found that it was in Greenwood area. The complainant saw the assistant of an officer he was familiar with who met him in Greenwood. They went to a bushy area where the complainant identified his vehicle. The off-duty officer received information which led them to a location a few meters away from the complainant's vehicle. They noticed the accused and another man in a white Nissan car. Another white Nissan, with no registration plate, was also seen in the same area. As the officer ordered the men to exit the vehicle, a man known as Blacks was seen running from a house near where the vehicle was parked. He then hid in nearby bushes. Upon inspection of the complainant's car and the other vehicles, it was discovered that the ignition had been completely removed from all three vehicles. The complainant later discovered other items belonging to him in the house from where the man had fled. Under caution, Ferguson reportedly said, "Officer, you have to talk to Blocks about this because he's the one who causes me to be here." When presiding Judge Sasha Marie Smith Ashley inquired about the other man in the vehicle, the clerk of court informed her that the man, who is from Clarendon, was taken into custody and was later released. The reason for his release was unclear. The clerk of clerk went on to say that Ferguson, having found himself in the area where the three vehicles were found, has some knowledge of how the vehicles got there, given that he mentioned Blacks being the one who got him there. The court also heard that Ferguson has been charged in relation to the car he was discovered in and appeared in the Trelawney Parish Court on August 9. "Mr. Ferguson, are you guilty or not guilty for stealing the car?" the judge asked the accused man. "Not guilty, Your Honor," Ferguson declared. "Are you guilty for receiving?" the judge then asked. He also stated that he was not guilty. In terms of the offense completion, the clerk disclosed that a further statement from the investigating officer and the scene of crime are still outstanding. She added that swabs for DNA and fingerprints have been taken and they're awaiting the results, noting that they needed some time to complete the file. Ferguson was remanded in custody until September 26 after Smith Ashley told him he was not a suitable candidate for bail and ordered a legal aid assistant. Court proceedings for Yahweh group members postponed due to judge's absence. The case of 13 members of the St. James Beach Villagers group Yahweh, who were arrested and charged with violations of Child Care and Protection Act last month, was adjourned until September when it came up for mention in the St. James Parish Court on Friday. It was their second appearance before the court. The hearing was postponed because the presiding judge, Sasha Marie Smith Ashley, was unable to attend court. The court was informed on the last mentioned date on July 19 that the prosecution was awaiting one more statement and that related matters were scheduled to come before the court on Friday. However, it was not stated whether the related matters were ready for court or whether the prosecution had that statement. The sitting parish judge, Keisha Grant Price, subsequently deferred the matter until September 15 and extended the defendant's bail. The accused individuals charged are Rebecca Gallimore, Christopher Anderson, Nikisha Harding, Derek Clark, Lee Maitland, Alisa Medley, Fabian Nelson, Frances Francis, Jordan Spence, Joseph Hoskin, Oral Spence, Ryan Letman, and Ingrid Williams. They were taken into custody during a joint special operation of the security forces at their Paradise Avenue religious compound in Montego Bay on June 30. The charges come only 3 weeks after the children of many of the accused were placed in state care. The police confirmed that investigators removed several exhibits, photographs, and other material of evidentiary value from the compound. Neil Spence, who voluntarily turned himself in on assault charges, had his case handled separately and is also scheduled to return to court on September 15. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF has stated that it may be working close with other government agencies as well as the families involved to ensure the matter is handled thoroughly, fairly, and considerately. The JCF has also stated that it is committed to protecting the rights and well-being of the children and will vigorously pursue all available avenues to ensure justice is served. The Yahweh compound, which is 2 doors away from the last Kevin Smith Pathway International Kingdom Restoration Ministry, made headlines in 2019 when authorities raided the property, leading to the arrest of church leader and the removal of 3 children from the compound. The raid follows months of complaints from residents about human trafficking, abduction, child abuse, and sexual assault.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share,